It is Friday, December 6th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. A couple things to get out of the way since we haven't seen each other since the beginning of the week. Happy 33rd birthday to Christian Yelich. That happened on Thursday, so shout out to your John Boy Media family. Yelich.
Shout out Yelly. Love you, big guy. Handsome devil you are.
Yeah, he's doing just fine.
Yeah, I've been seeing your workout videos, those curated workout videos you've been putting out. Okay.
Yeah. And then secondly, Juan Soto obviously is going to be the big deal at next week's winter meetings, which start Monday in Dallas. We'll be covering them from every angle. So if there's breaking news, don't worry, we got you. Everybody's trying to figure out where he's going. Everybody's spending time on social media, whatever platform you enjoy. Did you see Carlos Mendoza, the Mets manager? I think his son is 12 years old on TikTok, having it out with people. He's like, well, the Mets have offered more than $700 million to him. They're like, yeah, you don't know anything. He's like, do you know who I am? He pulled that card.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, obviously you and I both have sons. Sometimes they just do things. You're like, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? You got to think better. At first, I couldn't figure out, like, I saw the social media clip and I was like, where did he say that? It took me a while to decipher it. I'm not on TikTok. But 715 years for old Juan Soto. Okay.
So
that gets the job done, by the way.
You would think, but but who knows these days? If he was your kid and you were the Mets manager and Steve Cohen ends up calling you, like, what do you do to let's assume the kid is 12.
I
take his phone away?
What can you do? Yeah, yes. I honestly say TikTok out.
Okay.
Social media done. Like, there are consequences to your actions. I tell my son that all the time. He's like, what does that mean? I'm like, okay. I'm not really old enough yet, but
now what if Soto signs anyway? No harm, no foul.
Still out. No, you got to teach these kids, man. I'm from that era where there's consequences. I know a lot of parents nowadays are like, no, it's okay. Do whatever you want.
Maybe that should be our question of the day. So just leave a comment down below. Help us out. Hit the big thumbs up while you're there. What would you do if that was your kid? If you were Carlos Mendoza and your kid puts out there in the universe and on TikTok that, by the way, we've dropped a 15-year, $700+ million offer to Juan Soto.
You know what's messed up is my answer would change if it was my daughter versus my son.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Oh,
as much as I think I need to be harder on Isla because, daddy's girl, like, she just kind of like smiles and she gives me so many hugs. I think she knows, like, that's how to break me down.
She knows.
But I think I would treat it differently. And maybe that's a me thing. I got to figure that out.
I don't think you're alone in that. Yeah. I can't speak to that since I only had 2 boys and not a girl, which made me sad, but that's all right. I am wearing an A's hat today. We are really, truly leading the show because Luis Severino is the newest blankety blank A. I don't know what we're calling him. The Athletics. The A's. That's good enough. He's got a new home. It is Sacramento. 3 years, $67 million. That is the most money ever given out to an A's player. Our buddy Jeff Passan was the first to report it. So let's start with this. How shocked were you when you heard that that's where he was heading for that amount of money?
Definitely shocked, for sure. More so the location than rather the contract. I think that is kind of right on line. We talked about him in the qualifying offer. I thought maybe he should take it. I didn't know he was going to get a 3-year deal, essentially with the same amount. I think it's 22 a year or something like that. And the qualifying offer was 21 a year. So I'm not really shocked about the amount. I think that Luis Severino really, proved that he has the stuff to be the guy that people think he could be. Last year was a great year for him, and I'm happy that he got the amount and the years. Now, I was shocked about the location because, look, this is a franchise in transition, big time. They don't really have a home. They're going to be playing at a minor league baseball park. And then, the other home they're supposed to be going to, like, that seems like it's in flux. So it's definitely a difficult draw, for free agents. I mean, how do you sell that to somebody that can choose where they want to go? Well, you give him the money that he wants. That's what you have to do. So the more and more I think about it, though, Chris, and and maybe we'll get to this, and I think there's another section of this question, but the more and more I think about it, it's starting to make sense from the A's standpoint. But I want to get your opinion on like just the deal with Severino.
Yeah, the deal itself, 3 years, $67 million. He was one of those guys that when the qualifying offers first came out, we wondered whether or not he should take it because there is the other team that signs you that they're going to forfeit a pick. And for the A's, it's their third highest pick that they'll end up giving up, which isn't, I don't know. Sometimes it can be enormous. Sometimes it can't. You never know, right? With the crapshoot of a baseball draft. But $67 million for a guy like this. I mean, we just saw earlier this week that Frankie Montas, who did not have close to the year of Luis Severino, got $17 million a year. So for Sevy to get a little bit more than 22 plus AAV, I'm good with it. You know, I thought he looked great last year.
Yeah.
I thought there were times he really looked like the old Luis Severino. I'm happy for him. I hope he stays healthy. And this is a team that needs innings. I mean, they only had what? 3 guys that threw more than 85 innings last year, something like that. That's a ridiculously low number. And by the way, nobody noticed they played pretty good baseball the second half of the year. They were a 500 team. So I guess from that standpoint, it makes sense. Now, I will get on to the second part of the question, which to me is more interesting. As we mentioned, this is the highest contract they've ever given out in the history of the team. I'm not talking about just the free agents. I'm talking about anybody. Extension, whatever. Do you say, well, it kind of pisses me off that they waited till they left Oakland to start doing this? Or do you say, better late than never?
I think I say better late than never. And I think the more and more I think about it, it is the right time for them to go do this. Because if you just go off into the void, which is basically what they're doing, playing in Sacramento. Look, Sac State, what's up, Hornets? I used to go visit my brother up there all the time. I had a great time in Sacramento, right? I did. But it's not a baseball town. It's not going to be their home. It's just kind of a place where they're stopping by. If you go in and you leave Oakland and then you just are in this transitional period and your team stinks and you don't sign anyone and there's nobody's talking about you, and then all of a sudden you want everyone to be talking about you 3 years down the road at your new home, like that's not the way it works. Like you have to at least drum up some interest as you go into your new city. You know, you have to get advertisers for your new stadium. You know, eventually you have to talk about a TV deal. And if you just throw it in and don't even try for these next 3 years and just kind of say, hey, we got our guys here, we did pretty good, that's just not good business. So I think what their thought process is we have to try to remain competitive and relevant and get into the headlines a little bit. We can't just be this team that just cashes it in for 3 years and then wants to be the talk of the town when we move to Las Vegas, maybe. So I think this is the right time for them to do it. They have to do this for just business reasons. And, you know, they talked about trying to raise the payroll almost to $100 million this year, which, you know, it's not huge. That's still bottom third of the league, which means they still have more room to spend. So I'm intrigued in the way they are going to get players. We talked about the way they're going to get players to go there. They're going to have to pay them what they want, which means they're going to have to overpay them.
Yeah, they're going to have to pay a Sacramento tax. It's that simple. Yeah. Now, right, on one hand, you and I both adhere to the thinking of we want these bottom feeder teams to start spending what they're getting in revenue sharing and everything else. Go, please spend. But I do feel for the people of Oakland. I do, who watched Josh Donaldson and Matt Chapman and Matt Olson and Sean Murphy all get traded because, well, the franchise knew they couldn't afford them. And now they do this. It's a little bit of a slap in the face.
$63 million wouldn't have kept any of those guys.
I know it wouldn't have, but it's still the philosophy that if you start there, maybe you could, because they've had plenty of talented players come through Oakland that they just haven't kept. And that's disappointing. So that part is disappointing. The other thing is, do you think that Luis Severino will ever throw a pitch for the Las Vegas A's?
I don't.
I don't either. I don't know. His 3 years are for Sacramento.
Yeah.
And then they'll hopefully move to Las Vegas. They just got a big approval there in the next step moving forward to eventually break ground there on the Strip. But
this isn't a great division, though. So I think they've done this before, Chris. Like the Oakland A's have been competitive in the AL West. Whenever you count the A's out, usually that's when they start to be competitive and vie for an AL West title. So look, is Luis Severino going to change things and catapult them and where they're competing with the Mariners and the Astros and the Rangers and possibly the Angels? Probably not. But, look, they have some young players that did really good things last year. You talked about the record in the second half. You bring on, what we can kind of consider a frontline starter-ish guy. Things start to change a little bit. Like, there's no reason why this team can't be pushing 500 next year if they continue to make additions.
I'm more interested in, like, the entire logistics of playing in a minor league park, in playing in 111-degree weather. Like, I want to see how this is all going to play out. Lawrence Butler told us on the Rose rotation that he had heard that the locker rooms were behind the center field wall. Now, I don't know if that's changing. I certainly hope it is. But there's a lot of stuff that's more interesting than this signing.
The old minor leagues, man.
Oh, it's great. All right, we got more coming your way. But first, Blitzball Battle 5. We are in the thick of the playoff chase. Did you see who played on Thursday night?
We are getting ready as the postseason continues inside the warehouse walls. Blitzball Battle 5. We've got two-time champion Forgotten Rotten, the 2 seed, taking on the 8 seed in hook line sinkers.
We saw a very good hook line in the last game. Well, let's say very good Drew Davis with Trevor Plouffe. The bat has kind of gone missing, if I'm honest. I think it's time we see him show up.
It's still hard for me to pick against Forgotten Rotten in this game. I don't know how much Old Man Dan's arm can stand up to it. Trevor's going to figure it out at the plate. We know he can pitch. Shelfie's been solid this tournament. It's Forgotten Rotten for me, guys.
I also think that the amount of games is going to be either a positive or a negative. I'm not sure yet. I'm picking hook line.
I've got Forgotten Rotten. I think Trevor Plouffe is pissed and embarrassed. In the batter's box, where he allegedly played for 8 seasons in the major leagues.
Allegedly.
That's where he made his money. Trevor Plouffe, live up to your own bravado. We will see you later today. Blitzball Battle 5 inside the warehouse.
All right, that, of course, was a game that aired Thursday night, but because we live in the YouTube space, you can go back and check it out on our Warehouse Games channel, which I have to do because I was at my niece's dance recital and couldn't be there, so I have to go do that today. Yes, sir.
9 seasons, by the way. Throwing that out there.
Did I say 8+? Is that what I said?
Yes. I don't know what that means. I am embarrassed about the way I've been hitting. There's no doubt about that. Okay.
Were you in the chat last night?
I was in the chat last night.
Okay, good. I'm look forward to. I love rereading the chat when you're not a live participant in it. So
it's wild. It's wild. No spoilers. Olivia's not happy with me.
You know what that means.
What does that mean?
Door shut. All right, let's move on. Alex Bregman, one of the biggest free agent names out there. Is he going to sign next week at the winter meetings in Dallas? Well, Brian McTaggart of MLB.com, he covers the Astros. He says that Bregman's team that drafted him, and the only team he's played for, has made at least an initial offer to keep him in town. 6 years, $156 million. Here is Houston's manager, Joe Espada.
Breggy is a winner. He's a leader. He has all the qualities that you want on that you're looking on a baseball player. This is this is the part of the business that I don't have much control over that. Just to show my support and the fact that he knows that we love him, I love him, and he knows that. But he's got the right to do what he thinks is best for him and his family.
All right, so I ask you this: A, do you think that he's staying in Houston? And B, if so, do you think it's for those numbers?
I want him to stay in Houston. Like that's where I can't really envision him playing somewhere else. I just feel like, him and Altuve are very synonymous with that franchise right now, and they've done such great things there. Obviously some bad things, but they've done a lot of good as well. I think the numbers probably have to come up a little bit to get the job done because reportedly he's seeking over $200 million and he's got Boris. So, a lot of times that's when they say something, they really want to try to get close to it. So I think he does end up staying there. I think the Astros do come up, but that does mean, Rose, that they're going to have to shuffle some things and possibly trade some of their best players. And I think that honestly is the best path for them. I know that's not part of the question, but as I was thinking about him going back there, you know, it makes sense for them to have to trade one of, and this has been reported, quite a bit. Not that they're going to trade them, but would relieve their, or would help them with their financial flexibility. Would be trading Valdez or Tucker. And I think, in my mind, I don't want to get rid of Kyle Tucker, but there's no way you're going to re-sign that guy. They just don't give the money that he's going to receive. They just don't give that out. So you could get a pretty nice haul for that guy right now. So you replenish the farm system, bring your guy Breggy back. I know it's a crushing blow to that team because he's he's one of the best hitters in all of baseball. But if you're going to just have him for 1 year, then offer him the qualifying offer, I think I'd rather keep Breggy, get prospects, and then trade him this year.
Well, Mr. Crane is a guy who has operated by a certain standard ever since he's taken over the team. And this would be the highest contract, highest valued contract they would ever give out, $156. Now, that's $26 million per year, which is very good. There are a few third basemen that are over the 30 mark, right? Devers is there. Rendon is there. Arenado is there. And I imagine that's where Bregman wants to live. Get it. Totally understand it. I mean, does that mean that 6 and 180 gets it done?
I think so.
That's 30 a year. I think that would happen. People say, "Oh, well, it's think of that. It's only 24 million difference. And over 6 years, that's only 4 million difference." You can't. Well, every team's got a budget they got to operate on. And as you mentioned, Kyle Tucker's in the last year of his deal. I think Fromber's in the last year of his deal too.
Well.
So yes, there's some tough decisions they've got to make. I think this is the safest of the three plays. I don't know if it's the most beneficial.
What's the safest?
Is extending Bregman.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're right. Tucker's going to have a 2 in front of his contract. Framber's going to have mid-1s, I would say.
I think Tucker might have a 3 in front of his number.
It could.
He's 27. Fact check me on that. I think he's 27 years old. People are giving deals out 27. To guys into their upper 30s.
You're right.
37, 10 years, 30 a year. That doesn't seem crazy for the type of production that Kyle Tucker offers you.
Yeah, he's going to be 28 in January. So he's entering his age 28 season. You're right.
I just don't think they have a chance to re-sign him.
That's
the only reason I say, well, we can trade him now. Because I'd rather do that than just offer the qualifying offer. That's my opinion. I know that you want to be competitive as can be in 2025, and he's the best person on your team for that. But I also think he could bring back a substantial haul.
And on top of that, if he was available right now in the free agent market, he would be far and away the second best outfielder behind, or most sought after. He's a more complete player
second
than
best player.
Yeah. So if there's a team that is in the Soto sweepstakes and doesn't get him, but is like, let's get Kyle Tucker now and then let's extend him, like the Dodgers did Mookie Betts before he ever played for the Dodgers, I could totally see that happening somewhere down the line. We got a little off the beaten path, but I guess I'll answer the question. I too think that he stays in Houston, but it'll be for more than this number. It'll be over 170, and it wouldn't shock me if it ends up at 180.
Yeah, 6 years, 180 gets the job done. I was trying to put him on a different team. I put him on the Tigers.
Yeah, I know
in our free agent draft. Mm-hmm. By the way, who's winning that? Do you even know?
Nobody, because nobody's hit on anything. Nobody's signed.
We got to check. We got to check.
I think we've only had Snell. I think Snell was the only guy that's come off the board.
I think Jake had Snell. Jake always wins those freaking drafts.
Well, hold on. He didn't win shit. He didn't have him going to the right team.
Okay.
Thank you. You can be a winner, though, because today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. With more than 28 million downloads, SeatGeek, the #1 rated ticketing app around. Did you know they have more than 70,000 events every single day on the app? So that includes sports, concerts, festivals, and oh so much more. And here's what I love about them. They rate every ticket on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know exactly when you're getting the best deal possible. So look for the green dots, right? Green dot, good. Red dot, bad. And no matter how many times you bought tickets on SeatGeek before, use that code today10. You're going to get 10% off your next order. That is 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, whether you're a brand new customer or a returning customer. So take that phone out, open the SeatGeek app, or download it if you haven't done that before. Add the code today10 to your account. What are you waiting for? Do it now because this offer is only available for a limited time. The code is today10 for 10% off your next order. Enjoy your time wherever you're going. Maybe you'll see us at an event near you. Question is, when are we going to see Roki Sasaki over here? It'll be in 2025. We think he's going to get posted real soon. Then a team has a month to negotiate with him. And guess what? Buster Olney of ESPN says he's already made his decision. It's the Dodgers. And John Heyman of the New York Post says, no. The Padres have the inside track. But those are the two names that you keep hearing, those two West Coast rivals. Do you think it's just going to be one of those two for him?
It seems to me like the West Coast probably has the advantage here as far as, he wants to have marketing deals that in Japan, and that's the best way for his people to watch his games is to be on the West Coast. So that's where my mind goes. So I would throw Seattle in the ring there as well. I think if Seattle signed him, they'd be ecstatic because that means they could trade one of their other pitchers, bring in some offensive help, sign a free agent, and that would put them right in the thick of things. And I think that will be awesome. In fact, that's if I could pick a team for him to go to, it would be Seattle. But why would Buster only say that if he didn't get confirmation? This guy's been in the game for a long time. I know Buster Olney and I have some beef right now. There's no doubt about it. He's on my I gotta whip his butt if I see him list. But why would he say that?
Hold on a second.
Really? Figuratively.
But really, you're gonna go?
He made fun of me. He made fun of me.
So what?
I don't mean really kick his butt. He's 70, 80 years old. I don't know how old he is. I would never do that.
I don't know. But the next time he smiles, it'll be the first.
I might go give him a wet willy.
Oh, yeah.
Is that assault?
Oh, I don't think so.
Is that like whatever?
Wedgie,
I might do
you
that.
gonna hang him from a hook by his underwear?
No, just right here.
Oh, that's nasty.
He was talking crap about me.
Yeah, he
called me Charmin soft. Whatever.
Charmin.
What was the question again?
The product is Charmin.
What
might be
did
a
I say? I
sponsor
don't
one
know.
day if you keep talking shit.
I use Costco brand. What's the question?
The question is it? Do you feel like in your gut that it's down to one of these two teams? Because I do.
I don't.
Okay.
I think Seattle could make a play, but because the money thing isn't really necessarily a factor.
It's not.
It's he's picking a place where he wants to live.
Mm-hmm.
Knows will be competitive.
Mm-hmm. Assuming that's important to him.
I'm assuming it is. I think those three places all work together. And people say, what about San Francisco? I don't know. I just don't feel like San Francisco's in it. I think Seattle, LA, and San Diego. And I'm wondering why Buster Olney would say that if he didn't hear something concrete.
For people that don't understand necessarily the San Diego connection, Hideo Nomo works for that organization. And Nomo, of course, is the godfather of Japanese pitching here in the States, really. I mean, he's the dude
also,
that
that's
came
just
over
a
and
fun
shined
team,
bright.
dude. Put yourself in his shoes. You're watching Major League Baseball, and you're like, dang, like that crowd is awesome.
Yeah, it looks
San
fun.
Diego, the city, the weather's great. That's so much fun. Let's go play down there. And, like it just seems like a good place to play.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers obviously have a lot of things to offer when it comes to bringing guys in. The World Series, the Ohtani effect, everything is bigger in LA. It's beautiful. And then Seattle, I think they're the dark horse, man. If they can convince him to come up there and kind of like be the guy, and hey, like you're going to be second fiddle if you go down there, but you come here, you're going to be number one in the city. That's appealing.
I will say this, two things. Number one, it always felt like when guys from Japan started coming over here that they didn't want to double up on Japanese players. And I'm talking about it was the player's choice that they, for whatever reason, didn't want to go somewhere where there was already another Japanese player. I think that is long gone. I think guys look forward to it. Number two, For baseball competition-wise, I would like to see him go to San Diego. For offseason movement, I would like to see him go to either the Dodgers or the Mariners, because I think that then means that there's another big trade coming from one of those teams. And I like big trades. I cannot lie.
But here's the thing, Chris. Why would he go to the Dodgers? Like, besides everything I said, they have so many pitchers already. A ton of guys. Now, is he going to be slotted in there for sure? Yes, but
they might go to a six-man
I feel
rotation.
like if I went somewhere, I'd want to be. I kind of want to be the guy.
I can't argue with that. Who knows what his personality is? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm excited to find out, though. A couple of signings since we last met. Aroldis Chapman, one for $10.5 million from Boston. Kyle Higashioka turned that power in San Diego to a 2-year, $13.5 million deal. I think he can finish at 3 for $20. Either one of those do much for you?
I would say Chapman does more for me. Look, Rangers, show me something. You guys were dead all year last year. How many times did we talk about the Texas Rangers last year? We just didn't. We just kept saying that World Series hangover, dang, that's big. And it just kept going and going. And yes, there was injuries and it just never happened. So I love Higgy. I think that's going to be one of the better catching duos between him and Jonah Heim. That's going to be great. The Chapman signing does more for me because I think it signals, I know it's not a huge signing. It's a 1-year, 10, whatever it was. Not a huge signing, but it signals to me that the Red Sox are going to be big players in free agency this year. Like, they've said it. They have room. They have players to trade as well. Like, I think they're going to be active in the offseason, and I think this is like the beginning of that. And I wanted Aroldis Chapman on the Twins last year. You know, he still has the peripherals to be an elite bullpen piece. Like, the velo is still there. You know, the K rate's still there. All those things. He's got to hone in the commands, but he's a very polarizing figure, and I think he fits really well with the Red Sox. Like, I can't wait for him to come in late, and if Juan Soto signs with the Yankees, like, that matchup's going to be electric. Like, this is a great move for that rivalry as well. So this one did a little bit more for me.
Well, the Red Sox had the most blown saves in the American League last year, and people say, well, hold on, Chapman's not going to be a closer. No, he's not. It'll be Liam Hendricks, who's now back.
First of all, we don't know.
We don't know what?
Who's going to be the closer. I mean,
I think it'll be
Hendricks is supposed to be that, but it's very fluid, that situation.
I know, but I don't think Chapman's the closer. I think it'll be Liam Hendricks. Regardless, the point is that not every blown save happens in the 9th inning. We tend to think of it that way, but you need to nail down the 7th, 8th innings, and I think he can help that. You know, it's interesting. The Red Sox, they must have some sort of age requirement thing going on, because Kenley Jansen and Chris Martin, pair of relievers in their late 30s, they're both hit the free agent trail. Aroldis Chapman and Justin Wilson, both in their late 30s, now come in. They need to improve that area of their game. They could end up moving a couple of guys that were in the rotation, perhaps to the bullpen. Cutter Crawford, Cooper Criswell. We'll see what happens with them if they sign a couple of big names at the top of the rotation. So, yeah, I think Boston's one of the most interesting teams going into next week and beyond. So I think that's the right answer. Good call on that one. All right, you know what we all need a little bit more of? To get off our ass. With bold flavors and a refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew is going to get you off your ass and have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather is always perfect. Your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions awaits. So here's what we need you to do. Head on outside. Find an activity that is equal parts fun and competition. I don't know, free throw shooting contest, a putting competition. Go play Frisbee golf. Go have a longest throw contest. If you have a monitor set up, bring out your gamer headsets. Go do some video games. Go play kickball. Go play wiffle ball. Go play pickleball. Go play blitzball. Go play any kind of ball there is. Why? Because the mountain is calling and you should answer. So grab your friends, grab an ice cold Mountain Dew wherever refreshing beverages are sold, and do the do. All right, before we get out of here, we're hoping that there's some major trades that'll come next week. Mark Feinsand of MLB.com had kind of a fun article saying, well, here's one guy from every team that could be yours if the trade winds blow that direction. The most interesting name mentioned was Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being it is definitely happening, what number do you give a prospective Clase trade?
Like a 2. Like a 2. Eventually, could he be traded? Yes. Is it going to be this offseason or this season? I don't think so. I'm looking at the contract right now. He's signed through 2026 plus a 27 and 28 team option
For $10 million a year.
So he's very valuable. So maybe I might bump my number up a little bit. He's very, very valuable, and maybe this is the top of the market for him. You know, he's coming off obviously an incredible year.
Mm-hmm.
The contract is there. They could get a king's ransom for him, but also he's a really good pitcher. Why would you want to trade him right now?
Okay.
Let's get into the season, see how it's going. Maybe Cleveland stinks this year, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Then I say it's more possible. But you just took the Yankees to the brink of the ALCS, and all of a sudden you're going to trade your guy in the offseason? That doesn't make sense to me from just a business standpoint. It doesn't. So if you go into the year and you stink and like the atmosphere and like the thinking around your team has changed, then yeah, we can look to move this guy because he's still going to be worth a ton. I just don't see it happen in the offseason.
Okay. I would give it a 6 or a 7.
That's too high.
Here's why. You need to hear me out on this.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you were a team out there, would you rather have, how old's Tanner Scott? 32? You're probably going to have to pay 3 years and $15 million a year, if not more, to go get him. And he was great last year, but
he's 30 years old.
He's 30. Okay, so when's he turn 31?
July 22nd.
Okay, so he's almost 4 years older than Clase.
Yeah.
Okay. Clase.
I know his value's high. I know the value's high.
And the contract's insane. He's going to make $4.9 million this year, $6.4 next year, and then two $10 million
Hey, guess who else they could trade, Chris, whose value's high? Jose Ramirez.
They can't because he's got a no-trade clause.
Sure.
But Emmanuel Clase, here's why. You got to hear me out.
Okay.
Cade Smith was incredible last year.
Yeah.
Now, I know that there's a huge difference between pitching in the 6th or 7th inning and pitching in the 9th. Totally understand that. But I think they feel like they could do that. And do you know what sort of haul they could get for Emmanuel Clase? They could fix a ton of their problems. Outfield issues, starting rotation. I really believe that they're open for business on a bunch of guys, and I think that Emmanuel Clase is one of them.
I get it. I understand that he's at probably peak value right now.
He is,
for being honest.
Mm-hmm.
The contract, the year he just came off of, although he sputtered a little bit in the
totally
postseason.
He was horrible in the playoffs.
I just don't think you do that now. Again, if you come out and all of a sudden you're getting the Tigers are running the AL Central, my Twins are doing it, the Royals are doing it, and you're falling far behind. Okay, I can see it then. You're still going to get a ton for this guy. It just, what would that signal to your freaking fan base if that's the guy you trade after the season?
Depends what you get. It depends what you get.
Nobody cares. People don't care about returns because we don't know, because most of the time they're prospects and you'll be like, whatever. Maybe you'll get some major league talent back. Sweet.
Yes.
I don't think Cleveland really operates that way. They're going to want prospects and hey, we got so-and-so's number one prospect. Okay, we're not going to see him for 3 years. I don't know. That just doesn't do it for a fan base the way that Emmanuel Clase does it.
Okay, let me play this one out.
Okay.
What if they find a trade partner in the Dodgers who have got so much pitching depth that they probably need to unload some guys? And the Guardians just watch
over?
Yeah, you go get some starters from them.
And you maybe do it for me. I'm sorry. Who in the Dodgers is going to do it for me enough?
Well, I mean, you would also need to kick in some of their prospects because that's the way that the Guardians deal. But they could probably get a starting outfielder. I don't know if Pajes would be part of that. I don't know.
That's not enough.
It's not enough. But he's
I'm just saying
point.
that would to me as a fan, like, what?
Might be a good
Bring me Kyle
starting point.
Tucker. Bring me Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, great. So you can have him for 1 year and then he walks.
I don't know.
You can go get a
Dude,
comp pick.
I'm just saying.
Can't even do
you
that
need
'cause he gets
someone
traded.
very impactful at the big league level for me to be excited about that trade if I'm a Cleveland Guardians fan.
Okay, interesting. I don't know.
I can't believe you're saying that.
I think it's something they got to entertain. I think that's how they work. All right. We're gearing up for next week. Dallas. Every bit of breaking news that's around there, don't worry. We'll be just a microphone away. So just make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you tune into all the John Boy Media coverage. It'll be fun. It will be unbiased, and it won't be state-run. Those are all important things.
Whoa.
So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday here on Baseball Today.